Hello everyone, thank you for downloading a special episode of the Indian Startup Show. So, trapped indoors by the Beast of the East and Storm Emma, I decided to listen back to the first 10 episodes of the Indian Startup Show and put together the best bits. So today you'll hear from Harshdeep Singh. He's a young entrepreneur from Pune, India. Deepak Abbot, who spent time working at Head of Mobile Growth at Times Internet. Stuart Noakes, co-founder of Tech Hub Bangalore and Boston. Rima Sathe, he's the CEO of Happy Roots. Krishna Yogi, who's the founder of MapTags. Devin Miller, who's the lead developer at Nextdrop. And finally, Pushkar Gaikwad, who's the founder of Aeroleads. But first, I would like to pay tribute to everyone listening and subscribing to the show. For the past 2 years, without you, this podcast would not have been possible. So we've had over 300,000 listeners. So I'm very grateful. So sit back and enjoy some of the best moments from the first 10 episodes. Thank you. First up is Harshdeep Singh. He's a young entrepreneur from Pune, India, who's built a very successful app called Wrap It Up. We talk about the highs and lows of entrepreneurial life while studying full-time. Talk about why he prefers to be antisocial, what kept him going during the last 4 years of building the app, reading Steve Jobs' autobiography 10 times and his 15-day coding streak, and being 6'8".
So tell the listening millions a bit about yourself and what you're building.
So my name is Harshdeep Singh, and I built this app, which is a text summarizer called Wrap It Up. Mm-hmm. So what it does is, imagine you have a long text or maybe a paragraph or maybe a page of writing, and you really want to skim through it. Or, maybe you just want to read the main points. So all you do is you just copy the whole text, paste it on Wrap It Up, select how long you want the summary to be, like in percentage, and just summarize it.
Okay, cool. So, yeah. Where did you get the idea from?
I was at high school, I think 12th standard, and I was studying for exams, and I prefer studying alone. Okay. So what happened was, I was studying and I ended up highlighting a whole chapter, which was kind of frustrating because when I came back for revision, the whole chapter was literally highlighted. Mm-hmm. And the faculty was completely filled up with students and I had a lot of doubts. So I was like, maybe I should go back later. But then, there was no time left because the other day was the exam.
Okay.
And really no one was around to help me out. So I ended up thinking of this thing, why can't computers help me out? Because I was in boarding school, I couldn't even turn it to my mother who could help me out with, telling me, okay, this is important, what you should read. So I ended up, making flowcharts and turning down to computers to, build something which would tell me what is the most important, the key sentences in a paragraph. So 3 years later and a lot of work went in. And today I have the app ready, which I'm really proud of.
Excellent. So it took you three whole years to actually develop this app from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it was fun. Also it took really long because I think being in a boarding school limited my access to computers. Mm-hmm. So a year, was already gone because I think I was having about 2 to 3 extra hours, working on Wrap It Up a week, which is actually very less given, what I am building because I didn't have access to any artificial intelligence labs. Mm-hmm. And no one really had any clue about machine learning or natural language processing and stuff like that. So I used to browse around these things, Wikipedia, and I basically search up all of the internet.
Okay.
And start reading about it. So that's why it took 3 years.
So did you do this on your own, or do you have a co-founder or a team behind you?
No, I've done it completely alone because I honestly feel like I should control the whole process.
Okay.
Right from building the project files to programming to making the videos and marketing till, it reaches the end user. Mm-hmm. Also, it's kind of tough for me because I see myself as an antisocial person.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually very antisocial.
Right.
I would prefer staying in my bed instead of going out and socializing with people.
Okay. So in terms of the actual app then, what was the hardest bit? Was it the developing or the designing or just keeping yourself motivated?
Actually, design was pretty easy because I was designing websites.
Okay.
So I had some idea about, designing apps too. So, I mean, all I had to do was make it really clean and to the point and stuff. But yeah, I mean, motivation was an issue at times because, when you are at high school or when you are at college and, imagine I just come and tell you that, okay, I'm building this app which will automatically tell you which are the main points. And people, I mean, anyone would laugh at it at first if they have no idea about machine learning. So, I mean, I knew it was possible, but, sometimes when like 60 people come around and they kind of bully you and demotivate you, it's kind of hard to stay on track, but then, I ended up doing good. So that's it. And well, another difficult thing was I didn't have any access to labs.
Right.
So, I mean, completely depending on the internet and, I mean, at least the first year, timing issues. After I graduated high school, I pretty much had unrestricted access and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think the main part was keeping myself motivated. Because people around me always told me it's not possible. And, my parents always used to be like, if you're doing something, do it.
Yeah.
Or just leave it, completely. And I was seeing results like out of maybe 10% accuracy or 11% accuracy in the beginning was actually very good. So that kind of, always excited me and motivated me to work again because I've given up on the idea a lot of times.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, in the end, it just turned out well and I'm pretty happy on that.
Okay. So now that it's been released after 3 years of working on it, what's been the feedback? Have you had any have you had any reviews or ratings in the App Store?
Yeah. As of right now, what's the date today? 7th
of August, yeah.
4:48 p.m. Indian Standard Time.
Yeah.
It's a flat 5-star rating on every single store.
Wow.
Every single country.
Let me just give you a round of applause on that one.
Thank you.
Cue special effects. I don't actually have any special effects, so that's me clapping. So, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, because see, this is the thing. I have personally tested out the app for straight 6 months before launching it.
Okay.
So that's why I was completely aware of all the bugs and, how, when and where the app would not succeed. So, yeah, I mean, that's what it was like. Right now, I'm working on version 0.2, which speeds up the algorithm by 50%.
Right.
So, yeah.
So who's going to be the core audience then? Is it going to be students? I'm thinking.
Neil, right now, this is just the app.
Right.
This is just the core algorithm, which is a general summarizer. Now, I was having, I prefer talking to a lot of startup guys. So, the society which I just moved in, the next blog, had these amazing startup guys. I mean, 2 people. And they actually run an app development company.
Okay.
They build apps for others, for hire. They have about 22, 23 employees. And I was having a talk with them. It was day before yesterday, and that's when I had some amazing ideas. So it's wrap it up will act as a main algorithm kind of stuff. So it's it's a general summarizer.
Yeah.
And based on wrap it up, I'm going to segment it out for different people.
Okay.
So if you prefer reading news, in short.
Yeah.
So that way, powered by Wrap It Up's algorithms, you'll have a newsreader. If you're a student and you need something to revise, I mean, that's when Wrap It Up actually shines a lot. So, something just aimed at the students, powered by Wrap It Up's algorithm. So, I mean, that way I'm going to segment it for each possible market. I mean, different one for researchers, for desktop users, for other platforms, mobile platforms, even the watch platforms, wearable platforms.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to find out how to segment it and how many segments should I really aim at. Because, being alone, it's kind of a tough job to do.
So, at the moment, this is on iOS. Do you have plans to launch on Android and Google Chrome and web apps and things like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's iOS only for now, and Android version should be around soon in a month or two, because I'm kind of done with it. I just have to debug it now. And I mean, as far as other platforms are concerned, I will be porting the app to Windows and Mac platform too.
Okay.
And maybe even the Linux platform if my programming skills allow me to do that.
Definitely. So, I mean, do you plan to make any money out of this? I mean, is there like a revenue plan or revenue model, or is it just going to be free?
Again, as of right now, I'm yet to decide on that. I mean, Wrap It Up is going to be completely free and ad-free.
Okay. Oh, ad-free as well. Okay.
Yeah, ad-free as well. Because, I mean, honestly, I couldn't find out a way to put in ads where the user is not annoyed that the ads are there. I mean, even though it would serve as a good revenue platform, I really don't want to annoy my users.
Because I was reading the other day that I think iOS 9 is going to have some sort of ad blocking. On their browser, I think, something like that. So,
yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know about it. I'm still unsure, but as far as at least Wrap It Up is concerned, it will be free and ad-free, free in every sense.
Okay.
Maybe when I segment it later, I might put in ads.
Right.
So that actually depends on how well the app is built. After I segmentized it, separate. So,
where did you get the name from?
Yeah. It's actually a very funny story. So I'm in the classroom, and it's like the first flowchart. So before I actually went down and programmed it in C++, which we were being taught as part of our syllabus, I used to do everything based on flowcharts. So I used to write down on a paper a whole flowchart and then take a paragraph and do it. So I was reading, and just next to me was a classmate who was gift wrapping a gift for one of our friends.
Okay.
Who had his birthday the next day, and it was night at 11. And he was like, "Dude, what should I do with the gift?" And I'm like, "Dude, just wrap it up." And I was like, suddenly I had that moment. I'm like, this is the name of the app, which would be completely amazing.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, it came out from a gift wrapping session.
Wow. So you've got the domain then, or has that already been bought by someone else?
No, I mean, as far I got the trademarks.
Okay.
For Wrap It Up and Read More and Less.
Oh, right. Okay.
So these two, I got the trademarks. Yesterday itself, I just got the papers in my hand. So yeah.
So what's like a typical day then? Because obviously you're at college during the day, and then do you work on this in the evenings and the weekends and things like that?
Okay, so
do you sleep?
That's a very good question. Okay, so these days, college is from 9 to 3, so that gives me a lot of time, to move around. And my house is half an hour away, and with traffic 45 minutes sometimes. But that's completely okay because the house is amazing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I come back at around 4, I eat something, then I start working till it's time for dinner. And because I have roommates, so they keep in check, that I don't go insane and stuff.
Okay. Make sure you're still alive. Okay.
Yeah. They just keep on checking. They're keeping a check on me, occasionally, just not disturb them. So yeah, that also opens up the non-existent social life.
Okay.
which is limited to 2 roommates and their girlfriends.
Yeah.
4 people.
On a Friday night.
Actually, every night.
Every night.
Friday night.
Okay.
So, which is actually kind of good because I would probably go insane if I don't go out of my room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You need a break. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, even though I don't feel like I need a break, but I need a break.
Yeah. Your brain needs a break.
Yeah. And yeah, so after that we go to dinner. There are amazing places around, and then that's the time where we actually just sit down and we all eat very slow, and we talk to each other.
Talk to each other, yeah. That's good.
Yeah. At least I try to talk.
Yeah. Without looking at your phone every 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, I mean, we have this rule where we keep all our phones in the middle.
Oh, that's good. Excellent.
And Unless it's a call from your parents, you're not allowed to pick up.
Okay.
And if you pick up, you are the one paying the bill.
Right, okay. So you still got some money left then?
Yeah, I mean, if no one picks up, we all divide. And, 99% of the times I end up paying, so.
Oh, okay.
Which is okay.
That sounds like a good day.
And, I mean, we come back at around like 10:30, 11.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, the places are just nearby. They're not even a mile away from where I live.
Okay.
So, yeah. And after that, we come back, we watch TV or, play on a PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Or we just blast music till like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Nice.
And then, if I have some time left, I go back to sleep.
Right.
And wake up again at 6:30 or 7 and, get ready for college and leave for college again.
So what's the longest day that you've done coding?
Sometimes it's been weeks.
Okay.
It's literally like what happened. I just came back from my vacations.
Yeah.
It was like today I reach home, and for the next 15 days, no one knows I'm at home.
Okay.
I live in a joint family, so it's like 3 of us living together in a bungalow in different floors.
Mm-hmm.
My cousins had no clue I was at home in the past 15 days.
15 days, wow.
Yeah. And I just came out and they're like, oh, when did you come here? Like, 15 days. And then I couldn't see only.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I mean, and I'm that antisocial at times when I'm really into work.
Okay.
And sometimes, weeks pass by and all I'm doing is just thinking about how amazing the app is and don't work at all.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, I mean, either it's 101% in or I won't even touch my laptop.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what books do you read?
Again, the cliched Steve Jobs biography.
Okay.
Quite a lot of times. I think I would have read it 15 to 20 times by now.
Okay.
And I mean, the first 10 times I read it completely. The next 10 times we're using Wrap It Up.
Okay. So is that the one by, is it Walter Isaacson?
Yeah.
Because that's got quite a few pages. That's like 1,000 pages, right? Or something?
Yeah, that's a lot of pages. So, yeah, I mean, I bought a digital copy of it too. And I was like summarizing it a lot of times just to see how well the app performs.
So you've read this 10 times. What's the main takeaway you've got away from this book then?
I think, you don't really have to read the book to understand this, but I mean, Steve has always been emphasizing on limited time we have on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the moment you realize your time on Earth is limited is when I think you'll start doing some amazing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you'll actually start living a better life because, like, this was Steve's habit and now this is my habit too. So it's like every night before I go to sleep, I look myself in the mirror and I'm like, what if I don't wake up tomorrow?
Okay.
Was today amazing enough?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no for, more than 2 or 3 days, I know I have to change up something.
Yeah, that's what Steve Jobs says. Yeah, I remember that. I think there was some sort of commencement speech at Stanford University, I think it was. Yeah.
Stanford, it was Stanford's.
Yeah, okay. Let's say someone wants to become an entrepreneur. What would you say to them? What piece of advice would you give to them?
Be prepared to get the worst, go through the worst time of your life.
Right. Spend 15 days coding.
Yeah, because you'll be spending a few days no one else would.
Yeah.
So that, a few days later you'll be spending life so lavish. And you just have to make it big once, is what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you make it big enough, that's it.
Okay.
And definitely. I think everyone should start up really young.
Mm-hmm.
Today, if I look at myself, I think I should have started 5 years back.
Right.
So, yeah, if you're, even if you're 10 or 11 and you have an idea, start working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it might just not seem like it's the right time, or people would say that technology is not good enough or it's impossible. But if you believe in something enough, even if the odds are not in your favor, you would still end up doing it.
Mm-hmm. Excellent advice.
In my case, text summarization was possible even 5 years back.
Yeah.
But I had no clue something like this ever existed. Like, I was in boarding school since like 7th grade.
Right.
And I had no clue text summarization algorithmically even exists. just because I believed in it hard enough. I mean, 2 years later, I find out that it's actually a very big industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, for 2 years, everyone told me it's not possible. And 3 years later, today I have my app open. For everyone who ever told me that this was impossible, I just send them a message, that, okay, now it's an app and you can download it right now for free on the App Store.
Excellent. So just looking at your Twitter handle, it says you're 6'8".
Yeah, that's really tall. And just so clear, and I know you'll be asking about basketball. No, I do not.
Oh, you don't? Yes, because you're antisocial. Antisocial 6'8" coder developer.
Yeah, and I mean, here, because my father was a sportsman, and
what kind of sports?
Around, I know was a sportsman.
What kind of sports was he in?
My father has played over 9 sports.
Wow.
And he has a gold medal in every single sport he ever played.
Okay.
And right now, I'm not counting athletics.
Right.
And apart from debates and extempo, I mean, I don't know how he managed to play all these sports because I have been trying, I have genuinely tried playing basketball just because my father said, yeah, please play basketball. If you don't feel like doing it, don't do it.
Okay.
7th standard till the 12th standard, I've literally tried. I've given it all.
You've given it, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, basketball is really not the thing for me.
No.
And everyone who I meet, and they're like, oh, do you play basketball? And the worst thing is, they're like, oh, if I was your height, I would probably, play some amazing basketball. And I'm like, you have no clue how tough it is to be this tough. I mean, you won't believe me. My jeans are custom made. I mean, I have to get my jeans tailored.
Oh, wow.
My shoes, I mean, this is after 1 year, I found one pair of shoes which, I could buy off the store.
Okay.
I always have.
That could be a good startup idea then.
Yeah, I thought of that. But then, it requires a lot of investment. And I really don't want to make shoes for large people. And I was screw it. I just need to focus on that.
Yeah. Wow, 6'8". You must be the tallest person then in your town, must be.
Maybe, I'm really not sure. There might be people who'd be 6'6", 6'7", or 6'8". But yeah, I could be one of the tallest people around the town at least. Cool.
So, I mean, does it come from your dad's side or your mother's side, the height, or?
Actually, both. My mother is 5'10".
Okay.
5'9" or 5'10", I'm really not sure. And my dad's 6'2".
Mm-hmm.
And my sister, who is 15 right now, she is 5'10".
Okay. Did she play basketball?
No, she plays basketball.
Oh, wow. Okay. Next is Deepak Abbot, who spent time working at the head of mobile growth at Times Internet, which is part of the Times of India Corporation. It's one of the largest media houses in the world. We'll learn how he and his team manage the growth analytics of 14 plus mobile apps and 50 plus million users. Deepak talks about his decision-making methods, techniques and processes, including retention and referral strategies. It talks about a recent trip to Google HQ in Mountain View. It's full of practical advice, useful ideas for anyone looking to promote an app in India.
So, like Neil mentioned, I had mobile growth for Times Internet, which is a large media company managing a lot of internet and digital properties.
Yep.
So my role is primarily, is a cross between product and marketing and analytics.
Okay.
So, like we all know that, growth is mainly driving meaningful traffic, retaining existing users, and try and figure out, how do we really best monetize those users. So I look into all these 3 areas and try and see how we can grow the overall monetizable base for Times Internet.
Yep. So you must be busy at the moment then.
Oh yeah, in fact, so we've got 18 apps
right.
to be precise, and all of these apps put together, they give us about 50 million MAUs monthly. So a lot of big numbers to play with, and a lot of different verticals with different kind of mindset. You need to switch your every day there's a new task.
Yeah.
Every day you do different stuff.
Cool. How does it work between you and the team then? Do you come up with things that you need to track and then tell the team, or is it the other way around? So how does it work within the team?
So for every vertical, we've got a couple of guys managing. So we've got 18 verticals, and there are 6 guys who basically overlook those 18 verticals, and we divided some verticals based on their categories. And how it works is that we've got very clear 2 metrics for each of our vertical.
Right.
And that's what drives the entire team, and that's what, guides them on what to be done on a daily basis. For example, we've got a music streaming app, which is Ghana. We only focus, so obviously, for product guys, there are multiple metrics which they follow, but from a growth perspective, my only objective is to, I want people to listen to more music.
Yeah.
That's for free users, and I want people to actually subscribe to our paid subscription. Right. So these are 2 core metrics which will drive the overall growth. So if these are 2 objectives, and the guy who's handling the growth for Ghana, so they would actually work with product on building features which will bring the user back often, which will make him listen to more music, or we work with marketing and see if we can get some brilliant offers so that they can actually subscribe to subscription, or we can make it easier for them to give their payment information to us so that the whole checkout process is smoother. And of course, when it comes to spending money and getting users from outside, what kind of platform should we choose? Should we market it on Facebook? If it is Facebook, then what kind of audience should we be targeting? And also, if you've got existing users who have not renewed with us, how do we remarket to them, either through email or through Facebook or any other external ad network? So all these things put together, that's what keeps the team busy, and they're all evaluated based on these 2 metrics. What are the total conversions at the end of the month based on whatever activities you did.
Excellent. Retaining customers, obviously, once they've downloaded the app. I mean, what kind of retention strategies do you have? Is it like a notification strategy of like breaking news, etc., something like that? Or how do you go around retaining customers?
Retention, as we all know, is the single most important factor which every product guy, every marketing guy, and every growth guy is concerned about, because frankly in India, there are a lot of concerns on retention because for 2-3 reasons. The reason number 1, I think the uninstall rates in India are pretty high.
Right.
And the reason for that is, people actually buy devices which are less than $100, and there's very little space on the phone, because after all the basic OS and all the 15 to 16 Google apps, and then there are some bloatware which most of the OEMs would add.
Yeah.
Space is only left, and then you would hold some music and photographs. There's only little space which is left on the phone. So people actually are in this habit of installing the app, using it for some days, and then uninstalling it. So uninstall is one big issue facing almost all app developers in India. So and also a lot of so even though there are a lot of people who keep the app, then there's a lot of competition in India. There's a lot of high pitch marketing happening. So people would actually switch to another app and then they forget about your app. So it's always a big fight to make sure that people who already have your app or they've seen your app once to bring them back. And I think in terms of a strategy, it's very clear. First of all, it's a combination of 3 or 4 things. So obviously push notification helps, but we have to be very careful about push notification because nowadays it is becoming more like it's more spammy kind.
Yeah.
Apps would actually start sending a non-targeted push notification, and that sets a really wrong impression among users' minds. So they generally switch off notification for all the apps, even if you try and target apps which are suited to them. So yes, push works, but we have to be very careful. So we've been very selective about the kind of push we send. Let's say, for example, and we have to follow a different strategy. For example, for our music app, we need to send a push notification based on the artist you like or the kind of music you like.
Okay.
But when it comes to news, now there's a very different kind of behavior when it comes to push notification. Now, typically, there are 2 types of users who use news apps.
Yeah.
People who open the app on a daily basis, read the news, and then come back the next day. And then there are people who are, and in fact, there are a lot of people who've told us that they actually get their news quota from the notifications we send. So, for example, a Times of India app would send about 8 notifications a day. And there are a lot of people who are comfortable just reading notification and they don't open the app. Right? For them, that becomes their news quota for the day. And so we have to cater to both kind of users where one like the notification. So they want more and more notifications to come. And then there are other set of users who who like to open the app frequently. So what we do is people who actually open the app, let's say twice a day, we tend to send them really, really breaking news and not necessarily every news that comes away.
So it's personalization. Yeah.
So those kind of little things we do. And then the second thing which So we have our own, as I mentioned, we've got our own set of 18 apps, and there are about 50 million users across all our apps. So we actually cross-promote a lot of our apps within our network. So let's say, you've been reading news and we realize that you also have Economic Times app with you, but you've not opened it.
Yeah.
We actually try to, cross-sell you our other app and remind you about the new stuff which we've added. So we use retargeting, we're using our own network. Plus, of course, Facebook is a preferred medium for retargeting. So we use a lot of custom audiences and for retargeting users based on either 7-day retention or based on their taste in a particular category or based on certain events.
Excellent. So obviously you've got these mobile apps. Are you looking to target people to get off the website and then onto your mobile platform then?
Okay. So that's an interesting question because if you look at our company Times Internet, we still get close to 70 to 80 million users on our websites, and that to desktop websites. And then we have about 40 to 50 million on our websites. While the desktop, we are able to monetize really well. So while we push our mobile app there, but since the monetization on desktop is still pretty good for us, we don't really mind people still using a desktop. But when it comes to mobile browser, because a mobile browser, the monetization levels are so low, it's generally sold on CPC, which is fairly low, and even Google AdSense doesn't help you there. So that's when we really push our users to start using our app, and all our ads which generally get shown in web are mostly towards pushing users to use the app. So that's why we focus more on app indexing, so that if somebody's got the app rather than going to web, they should generally go to app, and that also helps us monetize better because app advertising revenues are at least 6 to 7x of what we get in web. So it's in our interest to push back users, and we keep doing a lot of stuff like in fact we've also taken some hard calls on forcing some of our back users to try out app for a day. For example, our Ghana app, Ghana mobile browser site, we've removed streaming from there. You can browse the content, you can browse the catalog, you can see what's new, but you can't listen to the music there. So if you want to stream music, you have to download our app.
Okay, cool. How did you actually get into mobile growth then? What's your backstory then?
All right. So I was doing gaming for about 8 years, mostly mobile gaming, and since gaming used to be the only form of mobile content India used to consume about 5-6 years back, because there were no smartphones. Mostly feature phones, and in feature phones you have those Java games which people used to download.
Snakes on Nokia 3310.
Right. So I got into that, the whole ecosystem of making people to download our games. It was mostly through unorganized app stores, mostly through telcos. So it was a different kind of targeting, not the way we do today, but still, it gave us good insights on what users like, what kind of stuff they like to play, and how to really keep the users engaged. And obviously the data we used to collect that time was not really rich, but at least it got us some understanding of user usage patterns. And then about 3 years back, I joined Paytm, which is India's biggest mobile commerce company, and that's where we started. And Paytm was the first company to actually have a dedicated consumer app for recharging your mobile online. And about 3 years back, not much was happening in India, and there are not many apps in India which were right up there. Mostly global apps which are doing well in India. And that's when when I discovered that it's a great opportunity to get users to mobile, because once they downloaded our app, we realized that their repeat rate has gone up drastically, and their spends have gone up. So we started focusing a big time on mobile apps there, and since it was an open ground, there's not much competition. We could really experiment a lot. We could really get CPIs at some significantly lower prices, and and we had a runway of about 6-7 months till our competition came to mobile. So we could experiment a lot, and that's where I actually learned most of this what you call it growth hacking today, or most of this deep understanding of how different acquisition platform works, how engagement and retention and all these things. Basically the customer lifecycle management on mobile.
Yeah.
That's where I actually learned most of it, and I think those 2 years at Paytm were really, really helpful for me personally to gain deep insights. And thankfully, overall Paytm, that we grew so fast. That overall growth also helped us, really showcase whatever we're doing internally to the large audience outside.
Excellent. So what would you say your favorite growth hacks are, or what you've read, or what you've done yourself personally?
So like I mentioned, there are a lot of different apps I work in. So for each app, the growth hacks differ. For example, if it is an app which has some sort of currency in it, then I would focus more on referrals because, for example, in Ghana, we have this referral program that you get more friends. You get a 15-day extended free trial of our premium service. Now that works really well because, you're actually getting a new user and somebody's getting a free subscription, and we seem to have found a soft spot where people are able to recommend 3 or 4 friends, and they're able to get 2 months of free subscription, and then out of that the conversion from those free users to people who actually then end up paying is much higher. So that makes both a task easier, acquiring new users, as well as people who've experienced a subscription service for 2 months, then converting. Because, if you have a paid service for 2 months, for example, we allow you to download music and listen to it offline. Now, in a market like India, where data cost is very high and people don't want to spend on 3G and 2G, they find this feature really useful. So over a period of 2 months, you actually end up downloading a lot of songs, and you create your own catalog. And suddenly after 2 months, when there's time to renew, a lot of people renew just because they don't want to lose their catalog which they've downloaded on their phone. So that strategy seems to have worked really well for us. Otherwise, in terms of if I have to be very generic about the kind of growth hacks, it's I think the secret lies in the onboarding, because you ask anybody who's managing today app growth, first 2 to 3 days are the most crucial period when users would either stick to your app or they would just abandon it and would never come back. In fact, the 80 to 90% attrition actually happens first 3 days itself. So how you really onboard the user, how do you really keep the user engaged for first 2 days? So it is like either a welcoming email with you capture email from, let's say if it is Android, we get it from Get Accounts, or maybe if they are finding some difficulties, send them a small little nudge inside the app and asking them if they need some help. Or after 2 days, a very soft reminder, push notification asking them, how did they like the app, or asking for feedback. So, first 2 to 3 days, it is very critical how you really handle the customer. And when they open the app for the first time, what's the kind of experience you're trying to give to them. So that's where I think the product focus comes into the picture, because once you get the onboarding right, everything else falls in place, because users are now sticking with you. Now it's up to your overall strategy of making sure that you continue to serve a good content to them, you continue to have kind of engagement strategy for those users, be it giving them right content to push, or giving them right context to come back to the app, and also keep the app light. Now, very interesting insight, especially again very, very Indian problem is that I think I mentioned that people have very less space on their phones. Now, while the app size is one, it has to be, let's say, lower than 5 MB so that people can download. But I've seen that a lot of apps, once they get downloaded, they create a lot of cache, they do a lot of offline storage, and that bloats the overall app. The reason for uninstall is that these apps become so big that when somebody browses, goes to the setting and they look at apps which are consuming a lot of space, these are the apps which gets uninstalled for us. So we have to make sure that how do you really maintain the right balance of, for example, for news apps, it is we have to maintain a balance. How much should we cache and how much should we stream directly? So that whole engineering and the balancing act also is something which really keeps the users install the app. So these are a few things which from a product or from a marketing perspective, we try and keep in our mind.
Excellent. So moving on, I've just noticed on Twitter you were like one of the lucky ones to visit the Google HQ in Mountain View.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like, and what were you there for?
So Google has started this new initiative called Developers Ecosystem Feedback.
Okay.
So they basically, they started inviting people from each country where they think, they'll be focusing going forward. So recently they had this event where they invited people from South Africa, Sweden, Denmark, Thailand, Japan, and India.
Wow.
And I was lucky to, be representing India there.
Wow.
So the whole objective was, and Google wanted to actually, listen from us that, what exactly are the ground realities, what, from a developer point of view, what Google should be doing in India, what are the things which we expect Google to do, or what are the things which competition is doing, especially Facebook, which developers feel, should also be done by Google in terms of monetization, in terms of distribution, also in terms of, the basic issues like Android fragmentation, Android testing issues. So basically they wanted to understand, so all the product managers, key product managers of Google, be it AdWords, AdSense, Analytics, Play Store, Android, they're all sitting in a one room and listening to us. So it was the other way around where, we were actually able to explain to them what are the things which, would, according to a developer, would work in India. So I stressed upon facts like, how fragmentation is becoming a big issue for developers because if you look at the scenario today, because of sub-$100 phones, there are at least 2,000 to 3,000 handsets which are out there in the market, and even if I have to look at 80% of my audience is, I still have about 100 handsets which you need to take care, and they're all in different specs. There are still phones which are running 256 MB RAM, just still running, some old version of Android, and it becomes increasingly difficult for developers to really create apps which would, provide similar experience across all the versions. So that, of course, Google has this Android One initiative which didn't work out in version 1. I think they're coming back with another version for that. And then, there are other issues like monetization, right? For example, in terms of number of downloads, India stands number 3 after US and Brazil.
Okay.
But when it comes to monetization, we are not even in top 15.
Wow.
Right. So the single reason for that, there are obviously multiple reasons, but I think the biggest reason is that nobody attaches their credit cards to Google Store. So first of all, I think the only payment option on Google Play Store is credit cards. Now, there are only about 15 million active online credit cards in India.
Wow.
Now, how do you expect those, with such a small base, people to actually, so there are about 150 million Android phones, but, there are only about 14 to 15 million people with credit cards. So first of all, the only payment option they have is not at all popular in India. So they need to introduce debit cards, net banking, and maybe, if possible, carrier billing, which I think they've been talking about it for last couple of years, but they've still not done anything about it. So that's the most basic thing which developers expect from Google to really focus on getting users to start paying into Android. And of course, there are a lot of other soft factors like users are not comfortable paying on Android because of, I think, quality issues. There are a lot of clones available, so that you're never sure if you're buying the right app. Yeah. And then there are a lot of malwares, and the overall ecosystem is not conducive to paying into the system because users don't have that kind of confidence that their purchase would be worth it. Mm-hmm. And plus, of course, you have these APKs available now. If let's say you have some game with good in-app purchase, there are some illegal apps which will actually give you fully cracked game with everything unlocked inside.
Okay.
So it's something which Android or Google needs to see how they can stop it, because that really hurts developers. So I think that the whole 2 days was spent around this, and a lot of other things which Google also told us about the kind of initiative they are taking to counter all these things, which I think they'll be announcing as we go along. So those were 2 really informative days. I mean, first day it was me who was telling them what they should be doing, and day 2, all the product managers one-on-one, they told us, what are the kind of initiative they're doing specifically for India or specifically for any other country which was being represented there.
Cool, excellent. So, were you at the end of the 2 days? Were you happy with the meeting or the outcome, or not?
In fact, I think I'm pretty excited with the kind of stuff they are doing. While it is still few months away, but I think once it is out, it is going to actually solve a lot of problems which I just spoke about.
Yeah.
So they have a specific solution to a lot of such issues which plague the Android ecosystem today worldwide.
Excellent, cool. I mean, I've noticed there's loads of like food startups now in India. That seems to be a big thing.
Oh yeah, in fact, I forgot to tell you that I have on my phone almost 11 apps. From.
So you won't go hungry then?
That's adding to the confusion, because every time I have to order out, first I have to decide which app.
Yeah, you don't have to decide what food, you have to decide what app you're going to use first.
And then one app which I keep is a couponing cap, because all these apps are offering, all these startups are offering big discounts. So I have to first figure out which app is offering the biggest discount. I first pick up the coupon which has the biggest discount, and then that becomes my first choice that day.
Cool, excellent. So you must have like a lot of notifications then on your phone.
Oh, I in fact keep most of my notifications on as far as Android is concerned, but on iOS I generally disable all my notifications.
Cool. So I mean, what tips would you give to like startups? Say they were building an app and they were basically at zero, and they want to get to like 100 or 1,000 downloads. Any tips? Any advice you would give to them?
If it is India, I think. Thankfully, in India, since we are adding about 5 to 6 million new users every month for Android,
wow,
there's a huge opportunity to create something which would appeal to these absolutely new users.
Yeah.
Right? So, people who've never used smartphone before, so see if you can. So, there are a lot of hidden settings in Android itself, right? So, how can you help these users to use their Android phones more effectively? So, for example, I would give you a very rough example. Now, you have, for example, you've got about 16 GB or 10 GB on your phone, and you've got about 20 apps installed. Now, a phone is running out of space, and it is becoming slow. So, can you guide users by the settings? In settings, you can see all that. But a lot of people who are new to Android, they don't know how to really go about it. So, if you can have a push notification service or a simple overlay which actually tells them that they can safely delete these 3 apps because they've not used those apps for the last 7 days. So those are kind of hand holding which new users need on their smartphone, which can actually make their smartphone lives better. So think of ideas which would appeal to these absolutely new users.
Yeah.
I can always think of ideas which should appeal to existing 150 million users, but I think that space is really occupied. There are a lot of startups trying to solve problems for existing Android users, trying to bring in more and more services in same categories. So I think there's some opportunity in the languages space because there are a lot of tier 2 and tier 3 people now coming in. They are not comfortable with English, while they are able to browse through basic stuff. But when it comes to deep usage of apps, they need apps in their local language. So for example, I've seen that in the last 6 months, there are a lot of Hindi to English dictionary apps which have actually crossed 1 million downloads.
Oh, right.
It sounds like a very simple app, right? You create a dictionary app, but like I mentioned, there are a lot of new users coming in. They want to learn using, they want to have learning. They want to have entertainment. They want to learn more about platforms. So all these small little apps, they gain so much traction because that appeals to this large audience who are absolutely new to this platform.
Excellent. Next up is Stuart Noakes. He's the co-founder of Tech Hub Bangalore and Boston. Tech Hub creates spaces around the world for tech entrepreneurs to meet, work, learn, and collaborate, and runs loads of great events, advice sessions, and more. Stuart is a successful entrepreneur and wanted to start a give back project to the people of Bangalore. So Stuart brought Tech Hub to India. At the time, it was the first step for them outside of Europe. It launched in June 2014 with an empty room, no chairs, with the words, "If not now, then when?" painted on the walls. They are now one of the top co-working spaces in India. Stuart shares his inspirational and experiences of being the co-founder of Tech Hubs in Bangalore and Boston, along with some challenges and opportunities of working in Bangalore. Hello, Stuart.
Hi, Neil. How's it going?
Yeah, great. Thank you. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what specifically you do at Tech Hub Bangalore.
So I started my first company when I was 26, right. And I kind of grew it from me, my laptop on the bedroom floor through to selling it a couple of years ago. And I got involved with Tech Hub just towards the end of that journey. But what I wanted to do when I did my disposal was really to say thank you to the people that I'd been involved with and to the communities particularly that have been so good to me. Right. So one of my give back projects was to take Tech Hub to Bangalore, and that was the first step for Tech Hub outside of Europe. Mm-hmm. And my second give back project was actually to take Tech Hub to Boston. Mm-hmm. And that was the first presence in the US. So we brought Tech Hub to Bangalore in June last year, June 2014. Mm-hmm. And Boston, we just launched in April this year.
Okay. And how's it going so far in Bangalore?
Oh, man, it's going really, really well. It's absolutely awesome. Okay. So, I mean, Bangalore for me was a very simple choice because I was trying to give back to that city and to the communities that have been so gracious to me and to the people that I'd worked with that had been pretty awesome. And it's through the work in Bangalore was one of the reasons I was able to do my disposal, my kind of transaction. So it's a very important thing for me to do, to say thank you. Yeah. So I knew it was a great city, but I had to kind of pitch that inside Tech Hub, and I had to convince a number of people that it was also a great city. And I was very fortunate that a guy called Mohandas Pai also came to Tech Hub and did a lot of that pitching for me. Mm-hmm. So he helped everybody understand that there are kind of over 80,000 IT graduates a year in Bangalore alone.
Wow.
That there's an ecosystem that last year received something in the region of $2.7 billion of funding into startups. Mm-hmm. And there's just like this crazy frenetic energy of people and pride and kind of the essence of entrepreneurship running through Bangalore, with something like 37% of all the IT spend going through India, going through Bangalore itself. It's just a massive thing. Definitely. And to be part of that is truly a blessing. I mean, it's just fantastic fun. Mm-hmm. I come away from every time I spend like a week or 2 weeks or whatever in Bangalore at conferences and doing things with Tech Hub, I come away with more memories of awesome people that I've met than probably anywhere else in the world that I travel to for Tech Hub and for other things.
Excellent. How big is the place in Tech Hub Bangalore? Is it 3 floors or 5 floors or?
Oh, no. We have about 130 seats at the moment. We started with a very small MVP back in April last year of literally 1,300 square feet. Right. It's on Hoso Road opposite Christ College. Mm-hmm. And we began, we launched with an empty room with no desks, with no chairs, with just, if not now, then when, painted on the wall, and a lot of hopes and aspirations. Okay. And we've iterated 3 times in terms of size. We're very lucky that we managed to gain tenancy within the centre for the UK India Business Council runs and operates. So they have a lovely roof terrace, which is also part of our deal. Mm-hmm. And we had access to a great event space up until the point where we took it over for Tech Hub. So we've iterated to this point. At one point, we had something like 150 people sitting on those 130 seats, where everything had just grown far too quickly and people rushing into the centre quicker than we could find chairs to put them on. And we actually sold out the MVP, the 1,300 square feet. We sold that out in 4 days. And that was just the expression of the sheer interest and the sheer enthusiasm there was for being part of what is the Tech Hub experience, but also, there's so many startups, so much enthusiasm right now. They just saw something that was an opportunity and people gravitated to it. So in
6 to 12 months, how do you think it would look like? Will it be just bigger companies, more companies, or bigger space, or?
Well, I've learned over the last 8 years working in India that scale is a different thing when we're in India. So our growth from 0 to 400 members in 12 months is seen as modest. Anywhere else would probably seem quite impressive. And we've been around 5 different cities running a rocket ship tour, which is where we then took 5 really promising Indian companies through to the UK and immersed them in the ecosystem there. And we did that with UK Trade and Investments. And we've got a great understanding in those cities. So we literally, with 48 hours, ran a demo night, a Tech Hub Tuesday demo night in Gurgaon, in Pune, in Hyderabad, and so on. And within 48 hours, we were getting like 160 people walk through the door with crazed enthusiasm for what was going on, to see really inspiring ideas and people get up on the stage and share what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And so we know that actually what we should be doing is expanding around the country and really, really taking advantage of the fact, or recognizing the fact that there are lots of people out there who want to be part of this community.
Yeah, it's big. So is any startups that started there, say, when you started, that have gone big now? Any well-known startups that are currently in Tech Hub Bangalore?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of good success stories. Some of the most recent ones are companies like Whoopla and Auto Ninja who've raised money and scaled very quickly and are now are bigger in size than really is appropriate to be inside a tech hub. And while the founders maintain their memberships, that they've moved the teams out into bigger space. But I think Whoopla, when they joined us, they were something like 8 members. And within 9 months of being with us and being in that environment and doing all the things that they've done, they've grown to something like 65, 70 people.
Wow.
And taken on something, I think it was publicized at $5 million worth of funding.
Excellent. So how do you help startups in Bangalore? Then obviously you give them office space. What else do you give them?
Yeah, so the co-working really is a way of kind of breeding serendipity. So we bring a lot of stuff into one place, and the co-working puts a lot of different startups together, and people are starting and failing and thinking of things and all collaborating in that space. So that serendipity is a massive part of what we do. We then mix up the ecosystem a lot by having really cool events which people come to, and Demo Night is one of those. But also, we run hackathons for people. Sequoia are doing a hack this weekend in the space. And we've done clean tech ones. We've run specific sessions for schoolgirls, which are girls-only events that are then chaperoned by the schools. And we've invited the winners of that back with their families to Demo Night. So you've got like 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds presenting into the space with their thinking and their ideas. And we bring investors in, and we have VIPs visit. So people like the Duke of York's come to see us. Nick Clegg, the Deputy Prime Minister's come and spend time with the startups. Mohandas Pai, who's our patron and member number 1, he's been in to see everybody several times. And this kind of stuff just brings all sorts of new routes and possibilities for people all the time. But what we found when we were bringing Tech Hub to Bangalore was we asked a lot of questions about what we could really do to add value to people. And we didn't want to just roll out a Tech Hub format straight off the bat. We wanted to know really how we could make it true to Bangalore. And people kept saying to us, we need a nice place to work. I was kind of talking to entrepreneurs all over the place. I was like, nice place to work? Why do people keep telling me they need a nice place to work? I mean, I need gravity, I need oxygen, I need internet, and everything else is pretty much optional. I'm happy if I've got a chair, that kind of thing. But they kept saying nice place to work, and I didn't really understand it. And although I've been in India for a few years, I didn't truly comprehend the kind of social side and the family side and the kudos or not kudos of being an entrepreneur at this stage in the family's eyes. And I didn't really understand that actually we needed to put in place an environment that people could go back to their families and say, look, this is where I am. I'm not in Starbucks. I'm not in my bedroom. I'm not unemployed. I'm actually in a very credible place. And that's one of the reasons we worked with UKIBC to put the centre where it is. And it's a much higher fit out than other tech hubs around the world. There's not a lot of plywood kicking around. And while there's the colours and the lights and the other things you see in the signatures of Tech Hub, it's all just a little bit more, I would almost say a little bit more of a corporate fit out than I've seen in other places. And that is so, and people like the Duke of York coming and Nick Clegg coming, that is also the entrepreneurs involved can go back to their families and really show the respect and the kudos that they're getting from us and from foreign dignitaries and local dignitaries and stuff about what they're doing, because what they're doing is amazing. It's inspiring. It's people going on unknown journeys with uncertain products and uncertain ideas, and they're really riding that wave, and they should be held high and really respected for that. So
what would you say is your best moment so far at Tech Hub Bangalore?
I've had quite a few actually. I've had a company come to us who's been members of Tech Hub since near the beginning and say, although we're moving our company out now and keeping our memberships but moving our company to a different space, we want you to know that we've raised our money in these meeting rooms. We've done every critical hire in these rooms. This is a huge part of our history. I've had people come up to me and say thank you, thank you for bringing Tech Hub here, because it's meant so much to us that this has turned up and helped us. And I've actually had members take me aside during my last during the party and the last visit that I had in Bangalore, and that was our 1-year birthday. And actually take me aside, sit me down, and ask me what the plans for Tech Hub were, because they wanted to be sure that we'd still be here in like 2 years, 5 years, and so on. Because it was now much more than a co-working; it was kind of like a home for them, and they wanted to be sure that it was still going to be there. I'm like, wow, this is really something. We're really making a contribution and an impact to people's lives.
Excellent. So you said you had a business before. What was that?
There was a software testing business.
Okay, cool. And how did that go?
Yeah, it did well. Yeah, I mean, we grew it obviously from me, my laptop, bedroom floor, and internationalized it to India and to the States and to Switzerland before selling it a couple of years ago. And yeah, that's it's been a big part of my life, kind of 14 years of running that business. And I'm pleased to say, that the disposal went well, and the company's gone on past acquisition to be part of the second largest software testing company in the world. All the teams are doing well, and a lot of the staff that were there when I sold the company are still there now. So it's one of those rare examples of an acquisition that's gone quite well.
So let's say someone wanted to become an entrepreneur. What would you say to them? What piece of advice would you give them from your background and your story?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I'm really lucky because I started mine when I was 26, and I was young enough and stupid enough to not really know what I was getting into. So now at kind of 42 and with 2 kids and a family life and stuff, my risk profile is incredibly different. And obviously my awareness profile is very different. But I would say, one of the things that every entrepreneur needs is this kind of unerring belief in themselves and their ability to get things done and get through problems. And if you are about to start an entrepreneurial journey and you don't have that in yourself, I would probably say go and look somewhere else, because some people might call it arrogance or cockiness or whatever, but it's just that kind of center to you that you can get through stuff. No entrepreneurial journey is known or certain or understood or likely to have bump-free time. It's just there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and you really need that. And I would also say for people who are trying to do startups as sole founders, it's not a good move. It's very hard. I was blessed with a really good business partner for 14 years who's still a good friend and business partner in other ways now. And I've met probably 3 or 4 people along the way who I would say were of equal caliber to him. But it's very hard to do stuff without those business partners and without a very strong network of trusted individuals around you.
Excellent. So sorry. In terms of startups, then, what would you say was the most important thing? Was it the idea, or the execution, the team, your experience?
Well, I think there are a lot of ideas out there. I think it's the people that execute it that make the difference between a good idea and a great company. And that ability to execute is probably what I'm talking about when I say, good co-founders and good networks around you.
How do you deal with sort of negativity when you just pitch something and a VC says, this is not going to work? In your experience?
Well, I think every piece of feedback is something to learn from. And you've got to know that what your idea is, and you've got to know why it's your idea, and you've got to know why you're bringing it to market and how it's helping people. And the most important people to listen to are customers. And if you've got true customer insights, but people aren't funding you, then don't worry about it, because the money will come. If you're just listening to VCs and people that are trying to put money into you, but not really paying respect to your customers, then you're probably on a fool's errand at some point. You're gonna fail, because it's the customers that really validate what you're doing.
Cool. Can you remember what it was like when you first visited India?
Yes, I can. So I went, I think the first time I went in 2005, so probably about 10 years ago. And I am still to this day reconciling some of the things that I experienced during that trip. All of my Indian experience to date is in Bangalore. I'm very excited to be going to Delhi in a couple of weeks to a conference there and getting a new insight to India. And some of my family by marriage is actually Indian as well, so I have some experiences there. But it's very different to my background. Although I spent a year in Manchester doing my master's there, a lot of my background was in a very kind of white middle class insular area, if you like. And so going to India and experiencing the sights and the sounds and the smells and the energy and just everything about life there was a real culture change for me. And I absolutely love it. I think I've been blessed by having good friends there and people who've helped me go beyond the etiquette layer of the culture there and really understand. I wouldn't say a lot, because you can't really understand India in a lifetime, I don't think, but to understand a lot more than I might as a Westerner and a visitor to the area. And one of the reasons I wanted to do a give back project was because I felt so much love and respect for the city of Bangalore and the people that I knew there.
Cool. Next is Reem Sathe. He's the founder of Happy Roots, an initiative helping farmers build high-value alternative income sources. Did you know that more than 50% of people in India still depend on agriculture for their earnings? So she started out as a chemical engineer for a big corporation and then quit to follow her dreams of helping farmers in her region. Since launching, she has created her first commercial pilot scheme and produced over 1,000 organic eggs, which she supplies to high-end restaurants in Pune. Cool stuff. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what is Happy Roots?
So Happy Roots, basically, if I have to talk a little bit about myself, I'm a chemical engineer, and then I went on to do my MBA.
Yep.
I specialized in marketing, and finance was one of my minor subjects. Since then, for about 8 years, I was working with various companies. I basically was into sales and marketing.
Yeah.
And my last stint was with a US-based company called Ecolab, where I was handling marketing for their India and the Indian subcontinent region. That's about my professional career. Happy Roots, basically, I would just say that it was more of an accident that just happened. Because I have always been sort of attached with a lot of NGOs or a lot of foundations in terms of working for low-income communities.
Yeah.
And I had always sort of dreamed about working full-time with such communities in some way or the other. And I'm also an online UN volunteer. So I had been sort of early 2014, I was working on an education-based project in India with a foundation called Health Trust.
Yeah.
So while I was working with them, I sort of, had been reading a lot about companies in India which are working on social causes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I came across a company called Krishi Star, which is a startup based in Bombay, in India. And I sort of was reading about them. It's a company started by an American who came to India, and he really wanted to work with small farmers and sort of improve their incomes.
Yeah.
I found it very interesting, and I sort of met the founder, and he was also sort of looking at partners to work along with him on his idea.
Yeah.
So I started off working with them more like on a part-time basis. So I already had a full-time job in 2014.
Okay.
So I was sort of, just testing waters during the weekends, or whenever I had time, I would sort of work for them. And I got so interested in the kind of impact that we were making on the lives of small farmers in Gujarat.
Yeah.
That, I just thought that, this is exactly what I want to do. So it was more like, I had suddenly found a purpose in my life. And so June 2014, I quit my job and I started working with them. And the foundations of Happy Roots, I would say, would sort of laid along my journey with Krishi Star. I already was very interested in working with small and tribal farmers. And my personal interest was more into promoting sustainable farming.
Right.
Because as a person, I believed that, and because, I had some, some health issues as well. And I realized that, it's because of the kind of food that the generation has been eating right now.
Okay.
We don't know what's pure. We don't know what's natural. You can't even say that, the fruits or the vegetables that you're eating, if they are not contaminated with any sort of chemicals. And, that sort of made me thinking, and I sort of researched on that topic. And early 2015, I realized that, I actually met a group of farmers in Vidar, which is also in Maharashtra, India. And it's one of the most distressed region in the country as far as farmer suicides are concerned. And, I sort of met a group of a few farmers there, and I realized that there was a huge, and they were doing sustainable farming.
Yeah.
And they were not doing it for, for money or anything. They had been doing it for more than 15 years, just because they believed in the principles of doing farming in a natural and sustainable way. And I think that was the time when I realized that I wanted to do Happy Roots, where I wanted to benefit small and tribal organic farmers and sort of, promote the cause of sustainable farming and eating sustainable food in the long run.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Cool. And how many farmers have signed up? How many so far?
So right now, because we're sort of so early in 2015. Around March, we sort of because we wanted to uplift the or sort of increase the incomes of the small farmers and sort of reduce their reliability on they have been hugely relying on a couple of crops, for example cotton and soya in their region, and one unexpected rain or a drought and their income for an entire year gets wiped out. So we were sort of brainstorming ideas in terms of how we can generate alternate income sources for these farmers. And we stumbled upon poultry farming, which has been existing in the community for a very long time. But nobody sort of the small farmers, because of lack of resources, they were doing it in a very unorganized manner. And we sort of came up with the idea of building community poultry farms for the smaller tribal farmers, so that they can sort of come together, build resources together, and sort of and then we connect them directly to the consumers. So that was the idea we started testing, and it's been 6 months now, and around 400 farmer families is what we're looking at right now in terms of our sourcing. In future, the entire region, the Vidarbha region that I talked about, we have around 5,000 small and tribal farmers in there. And that's the kind of number for this particular region that we're looking at as far as our impact is concerned.
Excellent. So obviously farming is quite a traditional industry. What kind of feedback have you had from the farmers? Is it something that they've got on board with, or they need more help with explaining?
I think it's a very it's a very huge shift in terms of it's more of farming is a very traditional occupation, and but the surprising thing is that still more than 50% of India's population depends on agriculture for their earnings. And why this percentage has sort of relatively reduced in the last few years, apart from various industrial development and other such macroeconomic reasons. The one reason that I personally have felt is that somewhere people who live in the villages or who have been doing farming traditionally, they're sort of forced to leave what they have been doing and sort of move to the cities in the hope of earning better money, in the hope of earning a more steady income. So I think, this is one thing that I have been observing, that, what they really need is somebody, or, I think they need a leader. Either this leadership can come from corporates or from the government or from entrepreneurs like us, who can sort of, really show them the vision. And because when they sit in the village and they're focusing on their farming, they do not really know that what exactly is happening in the market right now. And their only source of information or knowledge is the middlemen that exist in the food value chain. So I think they also need to know that, how the market is developing. And, that's where all these entities that I just named sort of come into play. So if I have to sum it in one word, I think it's the leadership that these villages, which are traditionally have been driven by farming as an occupation, really need. And that's something that we really need to, that's the need of the hour. And that's what everybody, including the government, institutions, entrepreneurs, startups, everybody should be looking at in this space right now.
So how would you go about attracting farmers then? I'm assuming most Indian farmers are not on Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn. I mean, how would you go about attracting those guys?
So I think with farmers especially, because I have always lived in the city, and tomorrow if I go to a village and say that, hey, I'm from Bombay and I'm here to sort of get you out of poverty or something, that it doesn't really work that way. So I think that's a very interesting question, and I get this. I get a lot of people ask me this question a whole lot of times, and I think one thing that I've learned over a period of time, I have been working with the farmer community for more than 2 years now. I always sort of go to a group or a farmer producer company before I approach individual farmers.
Yeah.
So, that's the kind of approach that I have always had, because, for example, our first partners in Vidarbh, which is a foundation called Chetna Foundation that I'm working with, they have been present in the region for more than 10 years. And, they really have the trust of the community in there, because that's the kind of work that they have done on ground. So I always sort of first build a partnership with this kind of institutions. And sort of, really try to build a relationship, sort of help understand their vision, share my vision. And that once I, once the trust building is done in that particular relationship, that's the time when, I sort of go forward and meet the farmers. Because, when I go through these foundations and when I go through such partners, the first barrier that, there's a complete stranger who's coming from the city to help us, I've already sort of crossed that. So, definitely social networking is not something that works out here, but I think it's more of a personal relationship that you can build with the communities and the leaders who are basically helping these farmers already, sort of works.
Cool. Say in 2 or 3 years' time, what would Happy Roots look like then? What's your vision for this?
So a very, the core vision of the company is to help over 1 million farmers, help more than 1 million small and tribal organic farmers in the country, in terms of, increasing their incomes and helping them generate alternate income sources. So that's the long-term vision. And say in a 3 to 5 years timeline, we want to sort of, for example, Maharashtra and Gujarat are the primary sourcing regions that we are looking at. So in these 2 particular states, we want to be like a one-stop shop for all the produce that the small and tribal organic farmers are producing in their villages, or the capability in terms of making processed food that they have right now. So whatever they make, whatever they produce, Happy Roots wants to be, a one-stop shop or a brand that represents all their farming produce that they want to sell. So that's where we look ourselves in 3 to 5 years timeline.
Cool. So what's been like the highlight so far? What's been the best thing about Happy Roots so far?
So I think the one best thing which is due tomorrow is that we are running our first commercial pilot tomorrow. So we have our first batch of 1,000 eggs, and these are pure indigenous organic eggs that we are sourcing directly from the small farmers, and we're supplying it to 4 high-end restaurants in Pune. And so that's one of the biggest milestone that we have achieved in the last 6 months. Other highlights have been that, establishing partnership with Chetna Foundation, because they are a very reputed organization in the country. They have been working with around 40,000 small organic farmers across India. And, initially, because when you want to establish a partnership with such foundations, you have to sort of prove yourself that, whatever your intentions are, it's really going to benefit the farmers. So I think it took me almost 2 to 3 months to establish that partnership. But I think we are just growing in terms of our trust and the kind of benefits that we exchange. So I think that's one of the highlights. And initially, the third and very important highlight is when we started off, we were talking only to 1 or 2 villages in terms of, the kind of sourcing that we want to do or the market linkages that we want to build. Today, I can probably say that, there are around 12 villages who are already interested in working and partnering with us. Excellent. So I think these are 3 very important highlights that we have for Happy Roots as of date.
So what's like a typical day for you then? Is it different every day, is it? Or not? What's like a typical day?
I think you have been an entrepreneur yourself here, so you would know that if you have a startup, then every day is a different day. So even when I have my interns with me, when they joined in, I told them that don't ever think that if we have work to be done tomorrow, in the morning when we get up, the priority would have completely changed. So I think every day is a new day, but typically these days, because like I said, our first commercial pilot is ready to run tomorrow. So I have been sort of juggling, meeting a lot of our prospects. There are a few chefs in Pune. They're like celebrity chefs that I have been working for almost 6 months now. So I meet them very often these days to understand what we're doing in terms of updating them on the product development, the farmers who are getting involved in right now. So a lot of customer meetings, a lot of phone calls in terms of also with the prospects or other chefs that are showing interest in our product. Speaking to my partners in the village, because that's very important, because that's where the sourcing is, and logistics is one of the very critical factors of our business. So I think it's more about hustling on both the sides every day, be it the customer side or be the sourcing side. So I think that's how a typical day always is.
Interesting. So is this going to be like a non-profit organisation then, or do you intend to make a small amount of money from
so this would not be a non-profit organization. Happy Roots would be a for-profit organization. Because personally, I have always felt, and I very strongly believe in this, that if you are a non-profit organization where you have to depend on funds which are coming from somewhere else, it becomes very difficult for you to take decisions in terms of that would benefit you as an organization, and also benefit your the people whom you are impacting. And I think for a business, if the decision making power is not in your hands, or the major decision making power is not in your hands, then I feel that the working becomes very difficult. So and also because as Happy Roots, we just not want to become a link, like an intermediary between our farmers and our customers, but we also want that, the small farmers, we want them to become entrepreneurs themselves. So, tomorrow, if there's a community poultry farm, or if there's a small processing unit that we set up, then, it would be absolutely run and managed by the farmers. We want to do the hand holding for the initial years, but then we want to just hand it over to our farmers. So if that's the vision, I think that can only be done if your farmers are making good money and you are also making money to sustain yourselves. So we're going to be a complete for-profit organization like any other commercial business.
Okay, cool. I've noticed that you also have a blog as well.
Yes. Stories I see.
So tell me about that. What's in that blog?
I think the blog was more, I love writing, and I love writing about my life experiences. I like writing poetry, and I just started off blogging around 2 years back. But I think it was the same time when I was looking for a shift, and I just sort of thought that I think it was almost like a midlife crisis when I wanted to do something really different in my life, and that was the same time I started my blog. It's been doing fairly well. I have around 1,000 followers now. I have not been writing very frequently now, but I do get a lot of emails, comments from a lot of readers, and it's sort of really motivating. And recently I shared on my blog about my journey with the farmers, with the small farmers of Vidarbha, and how Happy Roots was born. And I've received several compliments. People have sent me emails regarding that, how do they want to be a part of the journey, if they could be of help in any way. So I think I'm using my blog more in terms of, sharing my experiences, and maybe more of mistakes that I have made, or things that I've learned from people around me, and sort of if somebody reads that, or more if anybody reads that, and if that can help them even for even in a decimal point percentage, then it just makes me happy that I've been able to help anyone in some way.
Excellent. What blogs do you read as well? Or do you read any books, anything like that?
I do read a lot of books, especially during the night. Every day, I dedicate at least half an hour for book reading. I'm reading a very interesting book called I Too Had a Dream, which is an autobiography of Dr. Burgess Kurian, who was the father of, he's called the Dairy Man of India. So it's a very inspirational book, and I think anybody who's doing anything in social impact space, or is even doing anything for social good, should read this book, because every time I read this book, or any sentence or any paragraph, I could feel that the kind of challenges and issues that I face on ground, it's just bang on. Even 50 years back, the challenges were the same. Now situation is much better, but then because people the basic human nature doesn't change. There would be progress in the society in general, but people who are trying to bring in a change in the society would always sort of face those kind of similar challenges. So I think that's one book that I love, that I've been reading. I'm about to finish it. Blogs, I think I'm sort of getting obsessed with Y Combinator these days. So I'm not a techie, absolutely, but I think I love reading Paul Graham's blog, and in fact, I almost sort of stalk all YC tweets, and I also sort of I love following Sam Altman. I love following Paul Graham. Derek Sievers is somebody who's one of my favorite bloggers. I love reading his blogs. And my recent favorite now is Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't I don't really know how to pronounce his name, but I think he's really aggressive. He's has this lot of passion. He's completely into technology, but I think when I read his Facebook posts or his tweets or his blog, I just generally get motivated in life in general. So that's also one of my favorites.
Excellent. Next, I speak to Krishna Yoga, the founder of MapTags, a web application that shortens your address to your favourite word and makes sharing addresses as easy as sharing a word. All you need is a smartphone and a GPS signal. I interviewed Krishna while on holiday. We're talking about his journey so far, the best moments, the huge potential of MapTags around the world, and Krishna shares his advice on launching your own startup. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're actually building.
Definitely. My name is Krishna Yogi. I'm a graduate of IIT Madras, passed out in 2006. I was working primarily in the analytics industry for about 8-9 years now.
Yep.
But I had this nagging thing to kind of go on the entrepreneurial journey. I keep getting a lot of these ideas, and I want to give it a shot, etc. But I've implemented a couple of them.
Yep.
My last project was into solar industry, so I have actually built up a consortium sort of thing, that a website where people can actually buy stuff from somebody else. So it's like a middleman thing, and unfortunately that didn't take off well. After that, I worked on an idea which I call as MapTag, MAPTAGG, which is essentially building up a postcode, basically that can actually directly link a building to a 10-digit code sort of thing. So if you've been in UK, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So basically the MapTags idea, the current form, actually evolved from this, wherein you can actually give a custom name, a name that you like, and then to any location in the planet. All you need is just a mobile phone and a GPS signal, and you're good to go.
Okay. So basically, shortens your address.
Exactly.
So then you can share the address to anyone.
Yes, exactly. It's basically You can call it shortening address. People call it bit.ly for address. So, you can even call it like a address vault. Basically you're storing your address in map tags and you're calling it whenever you want. And all the services like e-commerce or any address filling that happens on a physical form, etc. All these things can actually utilize this. So your address is stored with us. All you have is a key, which is the map tag. So you use the key to open your address. That's how it works.
Cool.
Yep.
So how long have you been building this then?
It's been about 5 months now.
Okay.
So we are in the fifth month. It's been going great, really. Actually, I haven't expected this kind of response. People really seem to be liking this, and I'm very happy to announce that we actually crossed $1,500 in the revenue.
Excellent.
In the last month.
Brilliant.
Yeah. We just put up PayPal last month, and then. Once we put PayPal, we started seeing revenues coming in. So basically, the way we make money is that. So we essentially provide tags, right? So you can pick up your own tag, But in those tags, some are free, some are not. The short ones are not free because obviously we have to make money, right? So the short ones are not free. The longer ones are free, basically. So it's a freemium model. But having said that, if you refer somebody else, we even give away the short ones for free.
Okay. So that's a little referral scheme.
That's how it works, actually.
Excellent. So who's actually using this then? Is it like businesses or is it consumers? Or
yes, definitely. So there are a lot of people actually using the service. 4,000 users now. So from across the globe, really. And, but the focus is again on India because initially the product is actually built for India. When I conceived this idea, I thought of Indian market because the addresses here are so confusing, etc. Unlike the West. But funny enough, I've seen tremendous response from US, UK, and rest of the Europe. So they feel that this whole idea of map tags is very useful for marketing because there is an inherent SEO sort of thing built in. So let's say you're running a grocery chain, whatever you call you can have like map tag / some grocery or something like that, and then it clicks with people immediately.
How do you get customers then? Where do most customers come from? Is it like Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or email address? Or?
Yes. That is true. Actually, So we do have a lot of Facebook presence. So we use Facebook extensively because, we have a lot of people, the marketing guys, or some people work as freelancers. These people actually talk to their friends and, their acquaintances. And then, once in a while we go on to a lot of Facebook groups. Apart from that, we also run certain campaigns that takes place in the colleges, etc. So we would target a particular college and then do a sort of a marketing campaign and get the students to sign up with us. And then once they sign up, what happens is from the next month onwards, so they can actually use this service because we tie up with, let's say, a local food delivery company or something like that, so that they don't have to actually, let's say you're ordering a pizza, you don't have to actually give your hostel number or anything like that. All you have to do is just give the map tag and the guy exactly knows where you stay.
Okay, cool. So it's really useful for like e-commerce type businesses then?
You can call that, but we call them hyper local. So wherein that particular company or website is actually just catering to that vicinity. It's like your old mom and pop shop, but basically they're doing deliveries, home deliveries over the internet or phone or something like that.
How big can this go then? I mean,
it can go really big. Initially I thought just India, but after seeing response from US, UK, I feel it has a lot of potential. It can really change the whole addressing the way we have it currently. And then keep in mind that 80% of the world's addresses are pretty confusing. Not just India, even the Africa, even the Southeast Asia. So basically the developing countries have massive problems with addressing. And then, and in certain parts of Africa, people don't even have an address. It's true. Very hard to imagine for us, but actually it turns out so many people actually don't have an address because they're in such poor conditions. They don't have an address, and because they don't have an address, they can't get credit. And because they can't get credit, they can't come out of the poverty.
Yeah.
So essentially, if you provide an address to them, they have access to banking facilities, and because of that, they have a shot of coming out of the poverty. Yeah. So I mean, I read an article about this, and that's actually inspired me much more to work harder, etc.
Yeah, excellent. So what's the plan, the short-term plan, and then the long-term plan? Because obviously you've been going for 5 months. Say in a year's time, what would this look like, do you think?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So the short-term goal is that we want to target colleges in India, and then kind of get people to sign up in colleges, and then slowly build word of mouth publicity. So, once this happens, we're already talking to investors. So, I think in a couple of months, we should be able to close financing round. So once we close the financing round, we can actually take it to the next level, which is go, target like a city or something like that. Yeah. And then kind of get more users and get them services, basically. Apart from this, we actually have made, like I said, we made about $1,500 of revenue, right, last month. So the way it works is we had this huge army of people who were actually taking up like hundreds of map tags. So basically what they see, they see a lot of future for map tags. Yeah. And so what they do is they take up all these cool names, hoping to sell them later. Right. But basically, when they pick up all these map tags, they actually pay like $1 to us. So, so basically make money that way. Okay. And then there is that population is actually quite active. So, we have a very active Facebook group wherein people, post all their cool map tags, hoping to sell them, etc. So, we want to focus on both of these aspects, which is the user acquisition as well as educating people who want to sort of pick up the cool names. I mean, something parallel to actually domain investing. So we actually target domain investors because they understand the concept very well, picking up cool names, etc. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh yeah. What's your background then? Is it a technical background, or do you have a business background, or is it both, or what were you doing before this?
I guess I don't have business background per se, but I have a very strong technical background because I've done my BTech from IIT, and I have quite a bit of marketing experience as well because I was in analytics through the last 8 years or so. So I was involved in many different pieces of analytics like Facebook and Google advertising and stuff like that. I guess apart from that, I do have this natural knack for, like digging deeper, understanding things and, how businesses work. So I was always thinking about running a business myself. So I guess that dream kind of came true now. Yeah.
Okay, cool. What are the sort of like the main issues then that
the main issues per se is that it's a brand new concept, so people actually don't understand it quite well, how it works, etc. So sometimes I do get the questions on how map tags works. But apart from that, sometimes it's mostly like technical issues. So maybe there is some bug somewhere and they didn't get the proper thing, or the UI is not good or something like that. Okay. It's like that, but. Yeah, I guess, initially people ask me questions on what is map tags and how it works, etc., etc. And then slowly they ask me, once they become like serious about this, they probably ask me like technical questions, like UI and all that.
Yeah, just a couple more questions. And what advice would you give startups then about growing and marketing a startup?
I guess the first thing I would think of if you're building up a startup is do your homework, think of a proper business model. There has to be a proper value proposition. Yeah. If there's no value proposition in what you're doing, it becomes very tough to actually succeed. And then a lot of people actually just build up a business or something because they have this thing of doing something, which is good per se if you're a student or something. But if you want to take it very seriously, you have to understand whether this is an actual value proposition that you're bringing to the table. I guess if you're convinced about that, then you should definitely take the next step. You should not hesitate in doing that. Yeah.
Excellent. What's been the best moment so far for you personally?
The best moment for me personally is the day I got my first pay check. Okay. Which was $10 from somebody. Yeah. So, we put on PayPal and then I tested it with a couple of dollars myself. And then I got $10. Wow. Next day, I was like literally shocked. I checked my email a couple of times. I even checked my PayPal app. Yeah. So, just to prove that it's not a mistake or something. But that was really, really exciting. I guess from then on, and then once I crossed like $100 or something. I was like, wow, this is really picking up. And then, yeah, I guess that's been my aha moment. But I mean, prior to that, to be honest with you, I did have like a lot of, support from many people. They were all liking the idea. Once they actually understood the idea, they really liked the idea. But then this was like a money moment, because if somebody puts up the money on the table, that means they really, really believe in you.
Yeah.
That really gave me a lot of motivation to actually take this up really, with full spirit, actually.
Excellent. So you're on holiday at the moment, aren't you?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. How's that then? Are you still checking emails then?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, if you're a startup, there's no real holiday for you, because the world is so connected, right? So you got to have your emails checking up, and then you got to do what you do. And then I actually carry my laptop even on holiday. I don't believe in the concept of just lazing around on a holiday as well.
Okay.
Actually, I don't believe that. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a working holiday then.
Sort of. I think I take a lot of inspiration from Bill Gates. So, I've read this article actually about Bill Gates. Apparently, when he was holidaying, he actually takes up a bunch of books on different subjects, and then he kind of finishes them, like biology and some DNA stuff and like that. I think that's really good, because holidays is not just for lazing around. Because if you laze around too much, you're just not gonna do anything good after that, right?
Okay.
It's like it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
How does it work with you and your team then? Did the team come up with ideas? Or is it the other way around?
I guess it comes from multiple sources, really. It's not just like, one person or a couple of people doing it. I think as I interact with a lot of people, they do come up with certain smart ideas. Sometimes I guess some of the smart ideas are actually not from our team, but they actually come out from outside. So like I talk to a friend or something, and then he or she might suggest something good for the idea, for the company, etc. But the problem with that is, you got to be very, very patient when people give you feedback. Okay. So because people give like 100 things, and then you have to patiently hear to them and say, this is good or whatever. And then of those 100 bad ideas, so to say, there is one really good idea that can actually take your company to the next level. So that's what happened to me, I guess. Yeah.
Next, I talked with Devin Miller, the lead engineer of Nextdrop, a startup based in Bangalore. Nextdrop is a profit-for enterprise with a social mission. They want to rid the world of its water problems. Devin is originally from America, studying computer science, but decided to quit and try and come over to India and tackle India's water issues. We talk about how it works, how they attract customers, and his first impressions of India, and plans for the future. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're building.
My name is Devin. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I'm working out of Bangalore, India. As Neil had mentioned, our company is called Nextdrop, and we are trying to change how the world experiences water.
Okay.
Nextdrop connects governments with the private sectors and also the public sector around water thoughts. And we're creating products that kind of improve someone's water experience. For a government, that would be, or a water board, that would be someone who's managing the distribution system. For a citizen, someone in India would want to know what time their water supply will be coming, what is the quality of the water, things like that.
How big's the team? And when did you get started?
Nextdrop was started in 2012. I can't take credit for the original idea, actually. It was a researcher who had come to India. She was collecting water samples here, and she had this idea. What if we could send an SMS, a text message, telling people what time water supply will come? She'd spent so much time waiting in the house to collect these water samples. She felt chained to the tap. She felt that she had to stay home or else she would miss her water samples. So she proposed this idea and wrote up a business plan, and that won a grant out of California, Berkeley. About a year after that grant was won, I was recruited to Nextdrop to be the lead of engineering. And I joined in at the end of 2012.
2012, okay. Cool. What did your parents say and your friends and family say when you were moving to India?
They had asked, "Why are you moving to India?" I I was still in college at the time. I was studying computer science.
Right.
So my mother had said, no, stay in college. You're going down a good path here. And my father was like, you're young, man. Just go. Just do it. You're not going to get another opportunity like this.
Mm.
And that resonated with me. I had done some traveling before, and I wanted to go see the world. I knew there was a lot more to the world than just where I lived in the U.S. So overall, friends and family were very supportive.
Mm-hmm. So the most important question, do you understand the rules of cricket?
After 3 years of being here, finally, I think I've got it. I can kind of calculate how many points something will be worth and when someone's out. But it's taken some time here.
Excellent. So going back to Next Drop then, how many customers do you have then at the moment?
So for our flagship product, the original product, which was sending a text message for water supply, we have 75,000 families subscribed to this service across 4 cities in southern India. We have also sold products to 2 different water boards in southern India.
Yes.
So that's our utility products, helping them manage and diagnose their water distribution system.
Mm-hmm.
So on that front, we have about 500 to 600 users, engineers of the water board who are using our product there.
Okay. So how does it work then? Say like I'm living in India, I want some water, there's no water, I just send you a text message then?
You sign up, you activate yourself for the service. We have a missed call number that people dial into. And the challenging part is we need to figure out where exactly are you located?
Okay.
What is your geolocation?
Mm-hmm.
So we can kind of map you and say, okay, for this GPS location, they should be related to this valve ID.
Mm-hmm.
The certain valve that's going to supply them water. Once you're activated, we're constantly sending you the messages related for your specific area.
Right.
So we would send you a message, hey, Neo, your water's going to come on in 1 hour, from 3:30 to 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
Or we may send you a message that says, hey, there's a power outage in your area.
Okay.
Water is going to be delayed. So, hold on for a few hours.
Mm-hmm. So you're the lead engineer. What's kind of stack do you use?
So we're running a Django stack.
Mm-hmm.
We have a web application running on the Django web framework. We're currently hosted on Linode. We're considering AWS. A lot of people are moving to AWS these days.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Django stack. That's primarily it. We do have a couple mobile applications. One is an Android app, a native app. One is a web app, a Cordova build. And they're all accessing the Django web application, which is hosted across a few servers.
Cool. What would you say the key challenges are in building this web application?
One of the most challenging parts is not actually the web application itself, but it's understanding the on-the-ground operations.
Right.
Since our product is very process-oriented, we have to deploy it on the ground. It's not a typical Web 2.0 application where you sign up by email and you can scale quite rapidly. We do have to have some operations on the ground. So working with those users, selling to governments, I would say is the more challenging part.
Yeah.
And building products for users that have never really interacted with technology in such a way. Some of our users, their first interaction with the internet is through Nextdrop.
Okay.
Up until that point, they had only been using cell phones for calls and SMS.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time they're linked into a bigger network or using a smartphone application.
Mm-hmm.
So building products for users, for a non-typical user group is a very interesting and challenging problem that we work on.
How are you finding Bangalore then?
How am I finding Bangalore? Oh, I love it. It's great here. The weather is just awesome. The vibe here in the city is really nice. There's a lot of startup scene here too as well. So it's great. You can find tech talent. You can talk to other entrepreneurs. You can find other leaders in the space that you're working in. And it's a fun city overall. It's really nice.
Cool. What would Next Drop look like, say, in a year's time or in 3 years' time?
2-3 years' time, we would want to be across India at this point. So pan-India and potentially looking at operations in a couple other countries internationally. There's a lot of countries around the world where users could benefit from our product. So our focus now is to scale our product, not only to across India, but also looking at other countries as well. Our focus is still around water, though.
Yeah.
That is a key thing that we are trying to innovate and work towards.
Okay. What's been the personal highlight so far?
Over the Next Drop journey in the last 3 years? I think one big highlight for us was we just entered or got a contract with the Bangalore Water Supply Board.
Okay.
Bangalore is a metro city in India. It's a lead in a lot of tech and innovation. So getting a contract with the water board is a good thing for us. It's a sale that we've been working on for a long time. So that just happened in the last month.
Excellent. Is this like a funded startup then, or are you bootstrapping it?
We have been funded, but we are cash flow positive. So we have got a few grants. We've got a couple contracts that's keeping us going here. So, but we are looking to raise funds in the next 6 months to scale to other cities.
Good stuff. What's been the reaction to your startup in and around Bangalore?
Overall, it's received really well. People really like our values. They really like the problems that we're working on. And for the people that get it, they really think it's really cool what we're doing. Because it's not a typical Web 2.0 startup. We're not addressing a nice-to-have. We're not building a nice-to-have product, but what we're working on is a necessity for many people, access to water. And as we're starting to look into the quality of water, understanding getting access to clean water, it's a little different than a cab aggregator for that, for example.
Okay, cool. So what takes most of your time then at the moment? What's been the big issues at the moment? What's been keeping you awake?
Recently it's been cash flows. Right. As I mentioned, we're cash flow positive, but we do work with governments. So that's one challenge, and a lot of people are kind of surprised that not only do we work with governments, but we collect revenue from them and get paid from them. Recently, it's been cash flows. That's one thing.
Cool. What's like the key metrics then? Is it the number of people signing up, or the number of text messages, or the number of messages you send out? I mean, what's like the key metrics at Next Drop?
One of the most important ones that we look at is around contributors. Right. All of this data coming in, all of these water thoughts are coming in, and it's based on contributors, either utility members, the guy who's actually going at the lowest level, who's going and actually turning the valves on or off. He's contributing data into the platform. The guy who's working at the service station, at the tank, he's contributing data around what is the status of pumps and generators there. And even the citizens are contributing data around what is the quality of water? Did water actually come when we say it was going to? Is there sufficient pressure in the area for the water supply? All of these things are contributing back into the system. And it really drives the quality of service. So that's one of the most important metrics that we look at. Other important metrics are around growth. Simply put, most of our customers are in the offline market. Offline growth is something that's kind of an unknown space, which is something where we're innovating on. We are starting to go online as well, experimenting with mobile apps that can kind of do this. So growth metrics are another key thing. How many people are referring? What is the number of first degree and second degree referrals?
Excellent. How are you like marketing this product then? Which is like the best channel for you? Is it like email marketing or Twitter or Google?
Or
a website?
Well, the product that I mentioned, we had 75,000 subscribers on, is an offline product.
Okay.
These are customers who are receiving SMSs, who have signed up for a missed call. Mm-hmm. And those types of marketing through Twitter and email doesn't typically reach that user group.
No.
We do a lot of interesting offline marketing, offline growth hacks, if you can call them, where traditional marketing, like a poster ad, doesn't always work. So we're experimenting with different things. Typically, we'll go into a city and we'll do a few different things to kind of hype up NextDrop coming to the city and kind of market it in that way. So we may do a few radio ads. We may put up some flyers around. We may have some people who are advocating for NextDrop. So on the day of the release, there's been a lot of talk already in amongst this offline market where, NextDrop is coming to our city tomorrow. And that we see increases the sign-up rates.
Excellent. Last couple of questions then. What books or what blogs do you read?
Let's talk about some books. Recently, I read a little bit older book, but I quite enjoyed it, which was Outliers.
Okay.
By Malcolm Gladwell. Some other interesting books that I found quite useful. One was Nonviolent Communication.
Okay.
By Marshall Rosenberg, and it's a really great book to teach you how to communicate effectively with whoever, for that matter. And for blogs, I'm not sure if this will count, but I do read the Y Combinator news often.
Yeah.
There's a Blake Enders. Have you heard of him?
I haven't, no.
So that's another good blog there.
Excellent. So what were your first impressions of India when you got off the plane?
I landed first in Mumbai and had to do a transfer. At that point, NextDrop was not headquartered in Bangalore. Okay. We were in a smaller city, a tier 2 city called Hubli Dharwad.
Right.
Hubli has a population of a little over 1 million people. So I was taking the flight into Hubli, and the captain comes on and says, "Okay, we're preparing to land." And I look out the window and I don't see anything. I don't see any lights. I don't see any roads or anything. I get into Hubli. There's a couple team members waiting for me. They were easily able to find which one was me. And I get into an auto rickshaw. They tell the auto rickshaw driver where to go. I end up getting lost with that auto rickshaw driver. It was a fun journey that first night. It was good though. Yeah. Some culture shock, but I really liked it. And after I saw so many motorcycles on the roads, I really liked that too.
Mm-hmm. So would you say you've settled in Bangalore now?
For the time being, yeah. I see myself here for the next few years.
Do you miss America at all?
Yeah, of course I do. That's home, and it always will be. I am trying to visit more often, planning for a Christmas trip this year. So that's still in my heart too.
So would you say this startup has like changed your life then? Completely changed your life?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you were going to go in one route in America, now you've ended up in India, right? So.
Right. I was studying computer science. Yeah. I had told my university, I said, I'm going to take a one year leave of absence, and I'll come back. And in that way, they gave me my tuition money back for the upcoming semester. So my initial plan was, I'll work with NextDrop for 10 months and see how it goes. After the first 2 months, I knew I would be here much longer. And the type of responsibility and growth that you can have at a startup is much more. It's much more accelerated. And that was really enticing to me. I really enjoyed that, to work hands-on and to really grow as an individual. And, yeah.
Excellent.
Last but not least, I speak to Pushkar Gaikwad. He's the founder of AeroLeads, a prospect and lead generation software tool. Pushkar has bootstrapped his SaaS software as a service startup company for the last 3 or 4 years now. We discuss how to generate sales for your business using marketing channels like LinkedIn to generate leads. He's a firm believer that startups require a lot of hard work, and if you're not having fun doing what you find exciting, you will soon lose motivation. Thank you. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're actually building.
All right. So I'm going to say I'm a developer as well as marketer.
Yep.
I've done plenty of services work in the past from my college days, and I have built decent number of products as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them did well, some of them didn't.
Yep.
Currently, I'm building AeroLeads, which is the prospect generation software, and we launched it about 7 months back, and we are doing pretty well.
Yep. Excellent. How did you get into it?
So it was like curing your own itch.
Yep.
In my previous product, right, we built a pretty decent product, and we thought that now we have built the product, how to find the potential buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt that this is a problem which everyone else is also facing. That we built the product, but how to get your sales going, right?
Yeah.
What to get at the top of the sales funnel. So I wanted to build something like this, where we can just find the email IDs, the phone numbers of prospects. So I thought, fine, let's just focus on AeroLeads. So that's how the idea materialized.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
There were multiple iterations which did happen with AeroLeads. So we decided to build something, then we decided, fine, we can have this and that and this. So eventually the final product, which is now, is the third iteration of our tool.
Yep, cool. So in terms of customer services, would you do the customer service directly then? Would you reach out to customers having issues or want some more information?
Yeah, so I feel that support is a part of the product. I really feel like that, and I've seen companies doing very well purely on amazing support.
Yeah.
So they do have a chat widget. So anyone, whoever is a user of our software, they can always chat with me.
Yeah.
So right now I'm the only person who do all the chatting. So they can either talk to me. There is a phone number they can call me that comes directly to my phone, as well as they can send me an email, and we try to reply as soon as possible, sometimes in a matter of minutes.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So what's it like being a CEO then?
I'm more like a janitor, actually.
Janitor, okay.
So I don't think it's just a term. For 4 people, I think everyone is a CEO and everyone is a janitor in the company. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but yeah, let's see. I think when things will get more structured, I think this phrase will get more meaning. But right now, it's a pretty meaningless term.
Mm-hmm. So you got 4 people at the moment. Are you looking to build on that in the next 6 months?
A lot. Yeah. I really feel like that. So I feel that let's not hire someone unless you really need it, because then it kind of becomes an overhead. Mm-hmm. So right now we have 4 people, but by the end of this year, I do want it to be at least 10 to 12 people. Mm-hmm. And it's a SaaS product company, so I don't think we need a lot of people. Let's not hire people for the sake of it or just because we have money. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 10 to 12 people, just to accelerate the growth, the development, as well as sales and marketing.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Would you be looking for funding then, or is it going to be bootstrap for the next 6 months?
I'm not sure. So I'm not thinking of this. I do know, because I'm in Bangalore, and I do know a lot of investors. I think raising money will not be a challenge for me. Mm-hmm. But I just feel that again, let's not raise money just for the sake of it, just for the heck of it, just because everyone else is doing it, or just because it's cool. Mm-hmm. So I just feel that if we have our own money and if we are making money, let's keep doing that, other than making things complicated. And ours is not an operations-based business; it's a pure SaaS product based on marketing budget. Okay. So for the time being, we're doing fine. If in future things get changed, say by next year, I may be exploring that, but I'm not sure that is right now.
Okay. How would you go about marketing a SaaS product then? If anyone wants to market SaaS?
Yeah. So I can suggest a couple of things which work for us, and I just wrote a blog post about this few days back. That how to get your first 20 paying customers as a SaaS product, because I think that is the biggest challenge. We guys just build a product, and most of the people do build some awesome products, but we just struggle to get first paying 20 customers. So the first thing is, you want to target, who's your target audience. You don't want to do the spray thing, no point in, contacting thousands of people or getting newspaper coverage or all this blogs and all this, If you're reaching to wrong audience, right? What all you get is just sign-ups, that's it, right? They won't even come to the website after first time registration, and that just doesn't work. So be targeted, make a list of maybe 500 people in your maybe contacts or LinkedIn or social media, wherever. Make a list of 500. If possible, use zero leads. So let me plug my software. All right. So because that's the only reason why I'm doing this interview. So make a list of 500 people and follow them. And do some serious follow-up. Don't just send a blind email. Nothing wrong in sitting for about 20 hours in 4 days and send each one personal email. Because you want to make sure that all of those 500 people, you at least get 100, 150 sign-ups, maybe about 20 paying customers from that, right? Don't bother too much about pricing, Sell it for $9, $20, no problem. But that's a huge thing. You want to get that thing. Secondly, we do focus on inbound marketing. I just feel that that is kind of important, because that kind of gives you the credibility. And so I do write a lot. I enjoy writing, so I do write a lot. And often, that gets republished, retweeted into other media outlets. So that has worked out well for us. So, yeah.
So how long did it take Aeroleads to make money then? Was it a long time or a short time?
When we became profitable, right? I think we are almost break-even, I guess. Maybe we do. I think we are profitable, it looks like. So we were making money from first month onwards of launching the product.
Yeah.
It was a lot of money because the initial pricing was $27, $37 per month. But yeah, I think so it's such a pure B2B product that, it's like that every registered user, he can be and he should be a paying customer of Aeroleads. Doesn't matter how much they're using it, but they should be. There was a very strong focus on solving a real problem and having paying customers for us.
So, what advice would you give to startups or any budding entrepreneurs? Obviously, read your blog, but any other advice?
I do have plenty of advices actually.
Yeah.
So I think from technology point of view, I can say that I think the three things that I can say is don't compromise on technology stack. Make sure that you are taking the right technology stack and you know what you're doing. And if you're not, go back to the root level and start building from scratch. Because if you're not able to get the product right after 6 months, you'll be finding a lot of problems.
Okay. So in terms of doing a startup and failing, I mean, obviously, is it a difficult process? Yeah. For example, if I did a startup and it failed, what advice would you give someone like me? Would you say do it, try again, or learn?
Yeah. I mean, so it's like there's nothing wrong in failing. I mean, I myself have failed many times. And it's just that, success and failure, they're both part of the same side of the coin, actually. It's not even that they're different part of the coin, And you will never be 100% successful. You will never be 100% failure. You always learn before you earn. So, failures are part of the learning.
Learn before you earn. Okay.
Yeah.
So
right. So, that's how it goes. That's how it goes for everyone. And when you get successful, failure just fades away, right? So that's how it goes, And every successful person, I know that they have failed like 2, 3, 4 times. There's nothing wrong with that. You just keep moving on. Make sure you don't make the same mistakes again.
Cool.
And that's it.
So I've noticed, obviously, you must spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. For those people who want to use LinkedIn to generate sales or leads, what tips would you give them?
All right. So for us, we use LinkedIn heavily to market and sell our product because that is our target audience, the B2B audience. So what I did was I hanged out a lot on a lot of LinkedIn groups. I do have about 2,500 connections.
Wow.
Because I'm pretty active, in both sales marketing as well as startup community. So, and I sent a lot of messages to a lot of people, who are in my network that, hey, we built this software. Are you interested in using it?
Yeah.
Even if you're not, still at least give me a feedback.
Yeah. So
that helped us a lot. And I do write a lot of content on LinkedIn Pulse as well, which is a blogging platform. And that kind of helps you a lot because each of my posts gets immediately viewed by about 2,500 people or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's how, and it's kind of like a hay ball thing, it's a snowball effect that you just keep doing it, and it keep gathering more mass.
Because people obviously talk about growth hacking quite pretty much every day on Twitter, etc.
Yeah.
But it seems that for you, it's just a case of just spending time on LinkedIn.
Right.
Doing the cold calling or the cold emailing, the hustling as well.
So we don't do a lot of cold calling per se, and I don't think we even do cold emailing. But we do use our own software to find prospects, which has worked very well for us. So that is, and I think growth hacking is nothing but common sense. Whatever you want to call it, it's all common sense. You're just figuring out where exactly your target audience is. And just focus on that thing, and there will always be one or two marketing channels and one or two sales channels which will be extremely effective for you, and just focus on that. And that's it. That's how you just own the market.
So, how long is the sales life cycle then? Or is it different for every customer? So some could take like half an hour, or some could take 6 months even.
Exactly. So sometimes Aeroleads is a SaaS software. So people find it and they just make the payment without me realizing it. And in the morning I check that, hey, someone has registered and made the payment. And sometimes people do chat, people do call. They want to inquire, does this have the feature? And sometimes it can take a few weeks and maybe a few months. I remember some people, I sent them a mail a long time back, and then I saw them registering and signing up after 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I believe you're going mobile now with I believe you're in the development of Android app. That sounds very exciting.
Exactly. So we thought that there are a couple of prospect generation softwares, but no one is really there on mobile. Mobile iPads, a lot of tablets. So we thought, why not have a prospect generation software on mobile? And iPad and tablets. So we are about to launch in next few days our Android app, which I think is going to be the first prospect generation app as well as a lead generation sales app on Android.
Wow.
So some exciting times ahead, and we are going to build in a lot of new features into that mobile app.
Okay. That's the end of the show. If you liked it, please leave a rating and review of the show. Just search for the Indian Startup Show on iTunes, Stitcher, and now on Spotify. If you're building something exciting, you can send me an email, hello@neilpatel.co, or tweet at Indian Startup SH. We can go to facebook.com/Indian Startup Show. We'd love to connect. And if you want to create your own podcast, check out my class, Getting Your Podcast Off the Ground. So if you check the show notes, you can get Skillshare Premium free for 2 months as well. So thank you and goodbye.